Okay. Okay. Y'all know what time it is. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back, y'all, to another Purpose Earth podcast episode. I'm your legendary host, Daryl Wingfield. If you're new to this podcast is simply about inspiring you to be the best version that you can possibly be. Love yourself, love God, and love your neighbor. By doing that, you're on your way to serving your purpose. I want to thank y'all for hanging in there with me. I want to thank y'all for staying tapped in and listening, because it's just sometimes it really is truly wild, and I mean it's from the bottom of my heart, to think that you guys do be listening to me. Whether my words carrying weight or not, it's just nuts. I hope this is inspiring you to go deeper. I hope that this has been opening your eyes and opening your ears to really see what's going on inside of you and around you simultaneously. And man, today, I'm going to let you know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about self-mastery. May 27th, 2019 was a day when self-mastery hit me. And I'm going to tell you guys how this hit me. We're about to be a little vulnerable, real quick, and transparent. We're going to be transparent. But May 27th, 2019, I was in a weird place in my life. This specific day, or rather I should say night, I could not sleep for nothing. My thoughts was going a million miles per hour, and I was feeling all types of crazy about everything. And typically, when this did happen to me, what I would do is I would walk. I would walk at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And at this point, I started doing voice memos. So that's why I know this date so well. Because this date is on my phone of me talking to myself. I was so stressed out. I didn't know what was going on in my life. I didn't know what direction I was headed in. Everything it seemed like I was pursuing, I can see it right in front of my face, falling apart, literally right in front of me. And I'm still trying to hold on and hang on. There was a lot of things I knew I had to let go. And it was kind of like I was living this double life for a long time. With certain habits that I had, with me smoking, women, partying and having a good time. It felt like I reached the end of the road with every last one of those things. And now I'm trying to stop and I can't. And it causing me inner turmoil that seemed like it was beyond me. It was beyond me. And it seemed like I couldn't talk to anybody about it because of how deeply and how bad it was feeling for me, to the point where it's like nobody is really going to understand this craziness and this hell that I'm going through. And even specifically around that time, I remember I was having recurring dreams about me living with my mom, and it felt so real. And at this point in time, I was like on my own, and it was a rough on my own. Staying with friends and stuff like that. I'm living a hoop dream, a basketball dream, trying to make my way into playing professional basketball. So this is all the battles that I was dealing with internally. And since I couldn't talk to anybody, I was talking to myself. And I remember specifically in this voice memo on that date, I felt crazy that I was talking to myself in the middle of the night walking around. And I was specifically walking to the basketball court because I would just sit at the basketball court on the bench and just look up at the stars and reflect and think. 1 year later, due to things getting much worse, pandemic happening, I had fallen out with people. My car breaks down, break my phone. What else? And I got cut from the NBA G League later on that year in 2019. And I remember I got really, really sick to the point where it genuinely felt as though I was about to die. So it felt like everything that I felt as though was like a worst nightmare, such as like moving them back home with my mom, my worst nightmares was coming true. The things that I was avoiding most, like I would have dreams about living with my mom and waking up like, oh my God, I thank God that's not real. And yeah, actually finding myself in that predicament in real time in real life. But I had no self-control. Even though that's what I was seeking, I was trying to master myself, but was far from it. And a lot of times, we tend to truly get in our own way. We tend to try to will ourselves through getting through certain things in certain situations that we feel as though it's best to hang on to. When I tell you what, the best advice that I can possibly give you guys is don't hang on to anything. Let it all go. I'm talking about let it all go. Let it all go. And I learned all of this the hard way. Especially if it's not serving any purpose in your life, let it go. You're going to literally feel so much lighter. Me holding on to these things made me revert back to taking actions and partaking in things that was only going to make that stronghold on me that much crazier to break. Me feeling down and bad about myself, that's going to make me want to smoke. Not really solving the problem. Making it worse. I got to stop doing that. I've been doing that a lot. That's like a real trolling voice that I got. But I find it hilarious. But seriously, all joking aside though, these are the issues that I was dealing with and finding myself in. And I thought that I wasn't capable of breaking these cycles. That at first, when all of these things started happening, and I'm engaging with certain things and activities, they were fun at first. When you're like young and you're dumb, a lot of things is genuinely fun. But then the more you become one with the things that you're partaking in that's darkening your soul and darkening your spirit, you start to realize that you have really bad internal conflict. And you have really bad emotional disturbances. The one thing that I've been talking to people about is recognizing where these emotional disturbances come from. And these emotional disturbances come from you being attached to people, places, and things, objects. A person is an object. A place, a building is an object. Material things, cars, money, objects. And it's how those things make you think and feel that you're attached to. What is that person on the inside carrying within them that's making you so emotionally attached to them? What is in that building and the energy that it gives off that's make you emotionally attached to it? To make you feel as though I can't leave this situation. I can't let this thing go. What's making you feel as though that is a part of you? Because that is keeping you away from the light of truth. Man. That is keeping you away from the light of truth. We're not there yet. We're about to get there soon in this podcast, but it's gonna get biblical for sure. Y'all know it. Just wait on it. Let me cook a little bit. Let me cook on the grill a little bit. With the sandals at the grill at the cookout. You know what's about to slap. It's about to go crazy. But stay with me. Be patient. Be patient. But that's another big thing, is being patient. Being willing to sit with yourself and sit with the solitude and sit with the hell. So the one thing that I've been encouraging pretty much anybody that walked my path and that I engage in a really, really deep conversation with, and it gets real deep and they ask me deep questions, I encourage them to spend 60 seconds to 5 minutes with themselves without nothing stimulating their senses. Because people are so overly stimulated that if they aren't on their phone, they start driving themselves nuts. Boredom is the best thing for you. That's where you find yourself at, in boredom. You're not going to find yourself in watching a video that's informing you about things and you taking in information, whether it's trivial or whether it is something like this that's genuinely helping you out. This is still an external thing that is stimulating you from your inside source. It's stimulating your soul and your spirit. But at the end of the day, you have to do the real work in order to really master yourself. You have to go into the dark. You have to plunge yourself in the unknown. Knowing that you're not going to have all the answers. Don't try to figure out X, Y, and Z and 1, 2, 3 because it's going to drive you nuts. I know firsthand. In fact, this is year 5 year 5. As of September 7th, I believe, of me starting Purpose Served. But the first couple of years, it was me, the first 4, in fact, of me desperately trying to plan out X, Y, and Z. In fact, I gave all of that up this year. Of me truly knowing that I don't know what the future look like. And being okay with knowing that I don't know what the future look like. And be present every day. And there I'm going to find my clarity. But you got to be willing to plunge yourself in the unknown. When I first started Purpose Served in the direction that we're going in, somebody I haven't mentioned in a while, but a really close friend of mine who I genuinely consider a brother, my boy Steve, who made this logo, the Purpose Serves logo. Mention all the time, major shout out. But how spontaneous everything was when I first started doing this. And I remember we were engaging in different like ventures that was going to put us in circumstances that we knew was going to change our life. Me doing Purpose Served, I knew it was going to change my life. I didn't know specifically how, but I knew. And we made a pact with each other. And on my end of the bargain, I said that I was going to be our guinea pig and test to see what works or not. And if it does work, this is what's going to stick. If it's not, then that's not something that we should do. And it was his idea for me to do the Purpose Served podcast to create brand recognition and brand awareness without me knowing what I was truly going to talk about. But here we are 5 years later, still going, still trucking. And a year before that, because that was September of 2020, and the smack dab in the middle of the pandemic where I was going to do this. But the year before that, going back to 2019, specifically that date of May 29th, I was in the middle of doing things my way. And I was in darkness. Quite literally. Like walking in the middle of the night. Darkness. Because I can't sleep. And I remember one thing that I told myself is how I'm going to master myself and I can't even get my body to go to sleep. How I'm going to do that? Don't go against the grain. Don't. And especially if you're one of God's chosen people, that sucks if you want to really go against the grain. You will be forced back on the path. You will be forced back on the path. This is where it gets biblical, my people. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the prophet Jonah. This is the prophet that got swallowed up by the whale. And he was thrown overboard by shipmates because they thought that he was the source of why the seas was so rocky. And feeling as though the ship was going to get turned over. Why am I mentioning Jonah? Because Jonah, he didn't want to do God's will. He wanted to go against it. He didn't think that he was the right person for the task. So, in the first chapter of Jonah, this is what the word that was given to him. Now, the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and call out against it, for their evil has come up before me." But Jonah rose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go down with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. Man, oh man, oh man. We are about to get deep. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves, people. And side note, before we go deep, this is not something that I planned on talking about these last couple of days or whatever. This is super spontaneous. This is something that just hit me. I want to say to 5 minutes before I started recording this podcast, before I hit record on this camera, and before I started talking to you guys through the mic. But You can't flee from the presence of God. You can't flee from something that's omnipresent. You can't flee from something that's everywhere at all times, at any given moment. And I don't even know why I'm saying something. You can't flee from everything. God is everything. We're nothing. And something that's like incredible is about this voiceless voice. When it hit, the first two people that tried to flee from this was Adam and Eve when they knew that they did wrong. They tried to hide from God. That's like insane that they tried to do that. They tried to hide. They tried to cover themselves when they recognized that they was naked. They tried to hide from their creator as though he can't see through them covering themselves, as if he didn't create them. That's something internal. And this is about to get real deep. I'm actually going to stop saying that. We're just going to go in. There's two things at play. There's what's internal and there's what's eternal. What's internal is eternal. What do I mean by that? The presence of God is internal and it's eternal. We most likely going to get into that in a bit. But your purpose is internal, but your purpose is also eternal if you truly found it. If you truly found it, your purpose will be aligned to the spirit of truth. Your purpose won't be aligned to the spirit of lies. And the evil one is the father of lies and deceit. But God is the father of truth, spirit of truth. And most people are living the life of a lie and living in darkness. Based off of what I explained to you guys not too long ago, I was there. So I know firsthand what that's like. Like, seriously, I know. And I had to recognize that I was lying to myself about a lot of things. And it took a while. It took a long time. And a part of that was me being isolated. Forcefully and then willingly. To know I had a lot of things to figure out within myself. You can't flee from the presence of God and you can't flee from his voice. It's always ever present. You can turn your back on it, but you're ultimately making your life a living hell. And that's what caused Jonah to get thrown overboard. And he spent 3 days and nights in the belly of this well. In the abyss. In the darkness. Without going too deep here, because it can open up another deep layer. But this is also prophesying the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Holy One. Of him being in the depths of earth. Getting the keys to death from hell for 3 days. And then rising back up. And then spending some time with the people. And then ascending right back to where he came from. To sit on a throne at the right hand of God. We're not going to go that deep yet though. That's probably going to be sometime in the future. But going back to eternity, internal and eternal is the kingdom of heaven is internal and the kingdom of heaven is eternal. And you find the kingdom of heaven within you. That's truly where it's at. Don't look outside of you for that. Because like I always say, you're not going to find it outside of you. And you also won't find your purpose outside of you. You're just going to recognize things outside of you that's internally making you feel a certain way. And you can't separate yourself from your true calling and your true purpose, your life calling, because that's really your soul's calling. That calling is coming from a very, very, very deep place. It's coming from your heart. And your heart physically is not found outside of your body. Your heart is inside of you. Physically. And there where your heart is, you're going to find your hidden treasure. True words. One of the truest words spoken by the Holy One. And these are things that when I started strengthening my faith and started strengthening my spirit, at first I truly didn't understand it. And you won't understand it until you experience it for yourself to really know what that actually means. I can try to explain it to you. You can have a priest try to explain that to you. You can try to have a pastor explain it to you, but really have discernment. A lot of these people with these titles, I just did air quotes. A lot of these people with these titles don't know what they're talking about. Not saying that it's all of them, because you really do have truly inspired and divine people out there that's truly doing the work of God. A lot of people just don't have the discernment to distinguish between the two, honestly speaking. And what I encourage you guys to do, and in order to master yourselves, in order to truly master yourselves, you have to go within. There's no other way around it. Look at the Purpose Served logo. Going back to the creation of that logo, my boy Steve whipped up a couple of designs. I had one made for me through somebody that also inspired Purpose Served greatly, Sean Mills. But my boy Steve ultimately had a couple that I'm just like, wow, these is just tough. And when you look at it, it's PS right in the middle of the bullseye. Because that is the aim that you're going for. When you reach the light at the end of the tunnel, you truly want to know that you served your purpose and you didn't miss the mark. And I associate aims with goals in life. Did you reach that aim? Now, the blessing on this journey with me with playing basketball, it helped me set goals and go out and achieve goals. That was the one beautiful thing that it helped me do. Another beautiful thing that it helped me do, it allowed me the ability to take risk without knowing what was going to be on the other side, which was deeply a part of who I was as a person. And it landed me in places that I never thought that I would see. I never thought that I would be in Europe, in Spain, playing basketball. That's wild. Thoughts of traveling never crossed my mind, but I wanted to play basketball. And these things shaped my life, and the people that I met shaped my life along this journey of serving my purpose without me even knowing what was really going on. Not really going on. But I knew back in 2019 that ultimately my ultimate goal was I wanted to do a TED Talk, which was odd. This book that I read called The One Thing inspired that. And this is when I knew I wanted to inspire people because I give a lot of people like the one thing like chart that really was profound and that's like changed my life. I can't even lie. I can't even lie. But back in 2019, when I was like set on changing my ways, like truly set on changing my ways, um, this one thing chart, it had you break down your goals from right now goals all the way to a someday goal. And this is how delusional and cuckoo and crazy I was in my own head when it came to this stuff. My someday goal was to do a TED Talk. That was my someday goal, to do a freaking TED Talk. And my right now goal was to watch film. Now let me break this down to you guys, because you guys like, yo, what in the world? All right, moving a little too fast. Slow down, Daryl. Slow down, bro. So on this chart, you have a someday goal, a 5-year goal, a 1-year goal, a 1-month goal, weekly goal, daily goal, and a right now goal. All these goals had to connect with each other. All of them had to connect. So your right now goal to your weekly goal is pretty much behaviors that you can do to contribute to your 1-month goal. And your 1-month goal, once you reach that, should align to your 1-year goal. And your 1-year goal should align with your 5-year goal. And your 5-year goal should align to your someday goal. So this is where the Daryl delusional cuckoo stuff comes in. My right now goal was to watch film. That was it. I can watch and film. What I mean is basketball games, breaking down basketball games, not watching highlights, but actually watching basketball games, whether it's games that I played in or games on the NBA level overseas, just watching games and breaking down film. My daily goal was to lift weights and to put up game-like shots every day. That was my daily goal. My weekly goal was to do my daily goal. And my 1-month goal at that time was to be signed to an agency. My 1-year goal was to be playing in the either overseas or the NBA. My 5-year goal was to become an NBA All-Star. And my someday goal was to do a TED Talk. Man, why is that delusional, cuckoo, and crazy? Set the bar high for yourselves, to be quite honest. But within that, you can see why this built up a lot of internal pressure within me and turmoil within me if I didn't reach my mark in certain ways. It was never in my cards to go to the NBA. Never. That was one of those things I had to let go. Never. Overseas, granted, something I could have done, but I eventually let that go as well. Something had to give. And even that someday goal, the TED Talk, let it go. I fulfilled my goal of playing overseas. Now I'm doing inspirational talks because that's all I wanted to do was motivate and inspire people. And I also wanted to prove that what I was talking about was somewhat credible. So that's why I had those goals in place. And that's something that I also genuinely wanted to do because the love for the game was there. And it changed over time. It truly changed over time. But it curated in me a mindset. And those goals was my aims that I was aiming for every single day. I woke up and I knew what the mission at hand was. I knew what I could do every day. And I knew what I could do at any given moment. And I did my best to do those things until I started feeling bad for myself. And then I did things to try to escape that pressure. Which brings us back to what I was talking about in the beginning of this podcast episode. And ultimately, I was looking for wholeness and I was looking for peace. I was looking for the truth. And I was blinded to me looking for those things. And I thought that those things that I just named off was going to help me master myself. But it wasn't. Even though it did help create discipline within me, which was very, very important. But I wasn't walking in the light of truth. I wasn't. And I'm encouraging y'all to walk in the light of truth. Or else you're going to find yourself deep down in the well at the bottom of the sea, like Jonah, for going against God's will. Living in your own hell. Now, another thing that I want to read comes from Ecclesiastes, written by Solomon, said to be the wisest man on earth. Amazing. But in this particular part of Ecclesiastes, this is titled The God-Given Task. What gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart. Yet, so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. In the book of Genesis, it says that when God finished his work, he said it was good. It was good. Not only that, like I said, one thing that I'm going to point out that it said is also he has put eternity into man's heart. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And where your heart is, there you will find the hidden treasure. Bringing that back up. Everything is so interwoven and interconnected. It's not even funny. Life is so deep. But most people walk with their blinders on and can't see the goodness in everything. Another thing that I want to point out from this passage is he has made everything beautiful in its time. In order to recognize this, it takes patience. That's so contrary to the way we live in today's society right now as we speak. Instant gratification has got a hold on us. It has a hold on us right now. It's bad. Delayed gratification is where it's at. And this is how we're going to end off on this one, my peoples. My homework assignment to you guys is to sit with yourself for 60 seconds to 5 minutes, even if you got to set a timer. And be patient. And whatever hell that comes up within you, just watch it. Don't try to make it go away. None of it. Just watch it. Observe it. And over time, the more you keep practicing stuff like this, it's going to go away. Don't try to practice this if you have a crazy, crazy day in the middle of your day. Wait till you're winding down and you're about to go to sleep. Ain't no excuses. You, at some point, you're going to sleep. Don't pick up your phone. Do not pick up your phone. And when you wake up in the morning, try to do the same thing. 60 seconds to a minute. Try it. Be silent within yourself. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And this is before he uttered a word. So the act of creation was done in silence. Profound right there. So be still and know. Be silent. And there you will find your hidden treasure, and there you will find the kingdom of heaven. And I'm out of here. Serve your purpose. Y'all know the vibes. Last but not least, deuce, we out.